On today's episode, we'll be talking about my ongoing knitting and weaving projects. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and if this is your first time viewing this channel, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm coming to you today from coastal South Carolina. I actually just got back from the beach, so I'm really happy and really relaxed. We try to go quite a bit and just enjoy all the outdoor time that we can, and the water and the sun. It's so nice, but it is really getting hot here, and so it's so refreshing to take a dip in the ocean and cool off. And my kids sleep really well because they've been playing outside so much, so it's a win-win for everybody. So I have had two ongoing whips now for a while. My first one is my Emma top. Yes, I'm still knitting my Emma top, but I'm happy to say that I have made quite a bit of progress since last week. I have actually split for the top. So here I am. The top is knit from the bottom up. And so what I've done right here is I have the needle on the side, and it will be a series of decreases coming up to a strap. And then the other side I have on hold here. I'm using my Addy interchangeable set with the little hearts. They're so cute. And that's how I'm holding the stitches on that. And then I'm actually knitting with Chiaogu size 3 needles, and I believe that's a size down from what the pattern calls for. As usual, that's no surprise, that's my normal. But so far it's really come along. I really worked hard this week trying to get to this point. It is a half brioche stitch, which is gorgeous. I mean, it's so cushy, so stretchy. As you can tell, this top has a ton of drape, and the yarn is a half bamboo, half cotton blend from Universal Yarns called Bamboo Pop. I've talked about this before on my channel, and it has a beautiful drape. This is in the color Winter Squash, and I am so excited to wear this come, October. I'm really not pushing for fall. Now, once I get to this point on the pattern, it's a series of decreases. It's very fast because it is decreasing, so you have less stitches in each row, and then the other side is exactly the same for the most part, and so it's a very easy knitting from here on out. What I'll do then is I've already knit the front or the back, both are the same. That's the route I've chosen to go. And then this side just needs to be seamed up with the other part, either the front or the back. And then I'll be done. I'm so excited. So this has just been a really great pattern so far. I'm still crossing my fingers that this fits. I really don't know. I think it will, and we'll see once I actually get to seaming up the straps. I think you Kitchener the straps together, I think, and so that will help me just adjust the depth of the neck and make sure that the bottom kind of hits my hip where I want it to. I didn't want a really cropped tank. I wanted it to kind of hit my high hip, and so I am very petite, so I think I knit this just as written. Hopefully this will be just a little longer on me so it fits like that. I think it's going to be great. But anyway, that's my update. Hopefully next week I will have a lot more to show you on this. But yeah, I was really excited to get this far because this seems like the knit that never ends. I feel like I could knit, I know I can knit a full sweater, long sleeve, regular length sweater in the time that in less time that I would take to knit this top. So it's still going, I'm still working on it, and I'll keep you updated. If you're interested, I will show you the first half that I've knit. This is what it looks like. And so as you can see, it has those decreases, and it's really beautiful. I mean, the brioche and the way that the stitches are, oh, it's really pretty. So it's probably a little blown out, but you can just see that gorgeous rib. I mean, it's really pretty. And then this stitching right here is just, it's really, really pretty. So I'm excited to finally get that done and have it ready for fall. I've told myself I've kind of committed to be a monogamous knitter and get that project done until I start anything else. I have so many things I want to start, especially now that we're kind of on the end of summer. I know all my children are going to want sweaters, and I already have a sweater quantity dyed up for one of my daughters, and I have this yarn for myself right here, and so just, yes, so many sweaters need to happen, and so I really, really need to get that top done. But my next project that I've been working on is it's a weaving project. It's a table runner that I've been weaving, and I showed you some photos last week. Well, it is off the loom, I'm happy to say, and yeah, I am so happy with it. It's huge. It is really huge. It's very heavy, and I love it. So what I'm working on right now is the fringe on it. So as you can see, this is how wide it is. It's about 24 inches plus, maybe 26 inches wide. So it's really quite wide, and it is so long. It's long, very, 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 very long. So I can't even show you how long it is. I have a very large dining room table. I think it seats 8 to 10, maybe 10 people. And so this fits on it, and it's a really nice size, actually. It's turned out really nice. But what I've done is I've taken it off the loom because I'm done weaving. And right now what I'm doing is just finishing up the edges. And as you can see right in the middle here, there's a couple of chunky fringes, and I'm taking each stripe and making it, just twisting it into its own fringe, because I thought that would be really fun. The size of the table runner itself is quite large, and so I just thought it would be fun to have some kind of chunky fringe on the bottom, and then all the rest I kind of just tied into slip knots, I guess. And so they're just on hold. But I'll give you a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. So what I did here for the very beginning and end of my weaving is I took a DK weight yarn. This is actually the colorway Pale Peach. And I wove just as kind of like a selvage, or beginning and an end. And then you can see I'm just doing those twisted fringes, but it's really beautiful, I think. I love, love, love how it's turned out. And I've been actually, I've just had it on my dining room table because just to admire it. It hasn't been blocked, it hasn't been washed. I'm going to do that after I do the fringe. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. This is a Hedgehog Fiber 2020 Advent Calendar. So this was 24 mini skeins of fingering weight merino nylon yarn, and it was just like an Advent calendar. So every day I opened up a color, and the reason I wanted to make this into a table runner is because I actually didn't receive this until January or February. So it was after Christmas, it was after Advent, and I decided it would be really fun to just open it up in the month of February. So I received it finally in January. And so what we did, my girls and I have 5 children and 4 girls and a boy. And so they love little mini skeins and advent calendars, and it's exciting and it's pretty. So we opened one up every day, and it was just so much fun. And it was a really fun time to do it in February because February is just kind of dreary. So what I wanted to do is put this on our big dining room table because that's where all the fun happens. The kids are always doing, drawing or doing puzzles, or it gets a lot of use. And so I just thought it'd be fun and like a fun memory of when we opened up this advent calendar, because it was really a good time. So this is all the yarn from that. And what I did is I used an 8 dent per inch heddle on my 32-inch Kromski rigid heddle loom. It's the Harp Forte. And by using the 8 EPI heddle, what that means is basically there per inch, there are 8 slots and 8 eyes to thread yarn through. And what I did is I actually doubled up on my warp. So through every slot, every eye, I direct warped 2 strands. And so it ended up being 16 ends per inch. Yeah, so this ended up just being like a double thickness of a warp. And then I used a single strand of fingering weight, undyed merino nylon yarn for the weft. And it really has allowed the warp to shine and just kind of, I don't want to say toned it down because I love all the bright colors, but it really has kind of blended all the colors together and it's really come out pretty. So I'm hoping this isn't a super dense fabric by any means. So I'm hoping once I actually wash it, it tightens up a little bit and yeah, just kind of snugs up, plumps up a little bit. But in my experience, it always kind of does. So hopefully it will with this as well. I think you could go even like a 10 DPI heddle. I don't know if you'd want to go 12. I mean, that would be really, really snug. You could definitely do a 15 DPI because that's what I do with just single strands of fingering weight is usually I do like a 15 DPI heddle. But anyway, that is basically all I can think. And oh, I did measure, I used the calculator, the weaving calculator on Weavolution, and just kind of input, I played around with the numbers. I input my finished length, what I wanted it to be. I had measured my table and how much I wanted to drop down on the sides of the table. But definitely, if you're trying to figure out specs for a weaving project, I love that calculator on Weavolution. I'll link it below. It's such an amazing tool. It's been so helpful for me with my weaving projects. But then from there, what I did is, because I knew I wanted to do a double warp, a double stranded warp, I just put my mini skeins on a Swift and just direct warped my loom straight from the Swift. I didn't cake them up or anything. And I started right in the middle. So this is in order. I didn't do any kind of color arrangement or anything. This is day 1 and this is day 24. And I kept them all in order. But what I did is I started right here in the middle on days 12 and 13. And so I did day 12 and basically warped as many passes as I could. It ended up being 9 double strands, or nine passes for each mini skein, and then I had a little bit left over. So for me, that's how many I did, and you know, just warped all the way to the end and then started in the middle and just went the opposite way for days 13 through 24. So I hope that makes sense, and hope it gives you a little bit of insight into how I figured all of this. And I do want to point out, circling back, I do want to point out a huge mistake I made, but it's going to end up being fine. What I did is I actually missed warping through one of the eyes of my heddle. So I had a big gap as I was weaving, and I noticed it very early on in weaving this project. And it was either take out what I had woven, which wasn't that much at that point, and take my warp out, put another strand of yarn through, and, you know, roll up the warp again and start again. Or I knew that I could just basically thread or sew a strand of yarn through at the very end. Now, in hindsight, I may have done this differently. I think it would have turned out better. But for this project, I know this is going to get wear. I know it's going to be well loved. And because it's just for me, it's just for my family, I was a little less exact about it, I guess. But let me go ahead and show you where I'm talking about. So if you look between these two stripes, there is a white, one very, very thin white stripe that's running down. And that's where I missed threading through one of the eyes of my heddle. And so what I did is I just laid it out on my table, laid it flat, and really I didn't care what color I put there. I should have used one maybe that was a little bit darker so there's not a white stripe right there, but it was the first like little bit of fingering weight yarn that I found kind of, you know, in a project bag or something. This is actually day 24 of my advent calendar from last year, which is really funny. So that's in there. But it, you know, it ended up turning out fine. I'm sure if I hold it up, you might be able to see it just in between these stripes. I mean, there is a white stripe there. But I just wove it with a tapestry needle just all the way through, and it turned out fine. You know, I'll probably be the only one who sees this unless you really closely examine it. You'll see that it's, you know, one random tiny white stripe. So it'll be fine. But so far, I've really enjoyed this. It's been really fun, and it's been beautiful on my loom. And I actually have my loom in the house, and everyone, all the kids want to look at it all the time, and it's just been really fun. So after I get this twisted fringe done, I will wash it, and hopefully it'll kind of plump up, and yeah, I'll be able to use it. But I wanted to show you what I am twisting that fringe with. Let me get it. So I'm using this little tool to twist my fringe. This is from Fiber Art Supply Co., I think. I will link it below. But I buy a lot of their tools. They're so good and just really, really wonderful tools. And I have my ball winder is from them. I have this fringe twister, and I have a bobbin winder for my weaving bobbins. I use from them as well, and they make really great products. But this is a fringe twister that I can actually do 2 fringes at once. And what you do is you just clip the ends right in here, and you just count how many rounds you're going to do. I think I was doing 30, and so you just count it. Just, you don't have to do that, but it makes it a little more, it makes all the fringe more uniform, just a little more professionally done. And but this, oh wow, this saves so much time. And I think you could probably clamp this to a table. I've never really seen the point of doing that, but this has really saved me a lot of time. So I really like it, and it's, yeah, it saved me a lot of time. It's really useful, and they have all different sizes. So this one has 4 clamps, and I've seen they have smaller and larger. This is kind of a medium size. So yeah, that's what I'm using with the weaving project. But I will share pictures with you when I finally get it done. It is massive, and you know, the other thing I was thinking of, this is you know, might happen, might not. But if I ever get tired of using it as a table runner in the future, I think it would be absolutely gorgeous to use in kind of an upholstery project. I mean, I don't think it's going to be durable enough for, you know, hard wearing cushions, but I think you could make some beautiful throw pillows or something out of this fabric. And so I think that that would be a really neat option in the future. Or you could use it as like a wall hanging, use it in maybe a some kind of window covering project, because even though it's not super wide, it's very, very long. So there's a lot of options with this. I just think it's a really neat project, and I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's been really, really fun. So that's basically all I've been working on this week. I haven't really been spinning at all because I've wanted to knit and get that done. I've really been focusing a lot on that. I do want to give you a little bit of shop news, just for anyone who's interested. I do want to let you know that I will be having my next shop update in 2 Fridays, so in 2 weeks. The reason for that is normally I do like an every other week update, and it has been really difficult to time those with my monthly club subscriptions. And so if you're familiar with my monthly clubs, what I do is I dye them all at once. I pour all the candles all at once right after the first of the month. So if I have a shop update planned around there, it's kind of like double the amount of work. It's really, really busy. And since I'm the only one working here, this is my business. I'm the only person who's making, shipping, answering emails. It's not really sustainable long term for me to do that, and I could see myself really getting burnout quickly, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is instead of having a shop update reliably every other Friday, I will be adjusting the dates on those so they don't fall during my club subscription preparation. So I won't be having an update like around that time. So I will be letting you know when the updates are on this channel. Obviously I will still have my shop update previews on this channel, as well as my email newsletter and on Instagram. So I will be letting you know, and I do want to give you a heads up because I know a lot of you rely on that every other week schedule, and I just wanted to give you a quick heads up that that will be changing here in the future. But what that will help me do also is to get all of my advent calendar preparations done as well. I have been busy doing all of those. It has been so great. I do have a few calendars left in the shop, so if you haven't purchased one yet and you're interested, definitely check that out. I'll link below. But yeah, it's been really fun seeing it all come together, and I think it's going to be just a beautiful project for you come the end of the year. So it has really been fun putting all that together. That's it for me this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this episode, I'd love if you'd give it a thumbs up. I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have so much fun crafting wherever you are. And until I see you next time, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.